Justin Verlander getting set for his 25th career postseason start. Now in his 15th Major League season. Led all of baseball with 21 wins this year. Fourth and third run average, 300 strikeouts, second behind only his teammate Garrett Cole, and his third career no-hitter in Toronto back on September 1st. In his last start, his 300th strikeout this season and number 3,000 of his Hall of Fame career. AJ, you faced Justin Verlander more than any other pitcher during your Major League career. 74 at-bats, 19 hits, 3 home runs. What was it like stepping into the box against Verlander?
It was hard, first of all. The thing about Justin Verlander is he's a competitor. But when I faced him a long time ago, he was a four-seamer curveball guy. He rarely, if ever, threw a slider. Over the years, he developed this slider, and that has become his ultimate weapon. You see the strikeouts, you see the opponent average. He also has the most swing and misses in the American League on the slider. So this has become the weapon that Justin Verlander has morphed into, a fastball four-seamer instead of the curveball, this devastating slider.
Well, to me, Justin Verlander is a true ace, and he can always smell a win. And first time, second time, third time through the lineup, doesn't matter. He's actually at his best the third time. So this is a true ace going for the Houston Astros today.
Verlander will face this Tampa Bay Rays batting order. Meadows, Pham, Choi, then Diaz, Lau, Darno, Wendell, Kiermaier, Adames. Austin Meadows was the first batter Justin Verlander faced this season back in late March, and Meadows took him deep.
Yeah, he took him deep to left center in Tampa. His only hit off of him, he's 1 for 5 with a home run, but it was the only run they scored that day, but he does have confidence against him.
Verlander did come back to win that game 2-0 against the Rays during the regular season as Meadows takes ball 1. American League Player of the Month in September. 378 batting average during the last month with 9 home runs. Named the Rays co-most valuable player along with pitcher Charlie Morton as Meadows takes ball 2.
Well, I've been amazed throughout Justin Verlander's career how he's been able to maintain his average velocity between 94 and 96 from year 2007. He doesn't have the top end at 100 anymore, AJ, but I think you'll see 97 today.
Well, the reason he said he didn't have the top end when we spoke to him yesterday was he doesn't need it anymore. He doesn't try to use it. The old saying, you don't lose it, you don't use it, you lose it. Well, he said he doesn't need to reach back and get that anymore. Like I said, facing him, he'd be 94, and then all of a sudden, in a big situation, hey, here comes 100. He doesn't have it anymore, but he also doesn't need it anymore.
The 3-0 from Verlander. 94-mile-per-hour fastball in for strike 1. With Tommy Pham waiting on deck.
I think you'll see the Rays try to be somewhat aggressive off Verlander if they are able to get on the bases. They do run, and it's hard to piece hits together on Verlander, so I think they'll try to take advantage of that.
3-1, missing high and away, a leadoff walk, so Meadows heads to first. For the Astros defensively, brought to you by LinkedIn. Left to right of the outfield, Brantley, Springer, and Reddick. Around the infield, Gurriel, Altuve, Correa, Bregman. The battery of Verlander and Chirinos, who has been behind the plate for not only every Verlander start this season, guys, but every single inning.
Well, they started in spring training to develop that relationship because Justin Verlander has to have a good relationship with his catcher where he completely trusts him, and he does trust Chirinos.
Tommy Pham at the plate, hit one of 4 Rays home runs in the wild card game on Wednesday night at Oakland, a 5-1 Tampa Bay victory.
You know, AJ, this is not something I would have expected out of Verlander, who's been in this situation so many times. For him to come out and walk Meadows, get behind Pham, it might be time for one of those sliders to get him back on track.
Bregman to second on the first double play.
Nice call, Joe. Right on cue. Here it is, the slider. Tommy Pham off the end of the bat. Bregman makes a nice play going to his left. Altuve, a little bit of a hard turn, but Verlander loves it, especially after a leadoff walk. 2 outs on 1 pitch.
Well, we talked a lot about their pitching. We talked a lot about their offense. But defensively, they were #1 in defensive efficiency in all of baseball. And I think we just saw an example of that.
So now with 2 away, here's Ji-Man Choi, #3 hitter for the Rays today. Mike Meadows had a terrific month of September with 6 home runs. 0 for 5 lifetime against Verlander.
Well, G-Man is one of those guys, you know, you look at the OPS, 822. He does not really hit left-handers well. He's 870 against right-handers, and he'll get to face Cole, and he's going to have to face Verlander and Greinke, and he's going to have to do some damage in the middle of that order. First changeup from Verlander. AJ. He's got so many weapons.
He does. He has too many weapons.
Too many.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's not fair.
One to Choi. Foul back. Now 1-2.
Another changeup.
Yeah, back to back.
The old saying: you miss with one, come back
right
and throw
back,
it again.
Come right back with it, right? So you get a feel for it, and the hitter may not be expecting it. And AJ. Is your slider coming right here, down and in?
Back foot slider, high fastball. He's got him set up for whatever he wants at this point.
A 1-2 from Verlander. Call strike 3. Leadoff walk. That will do it for the Rays in the top of the first. Division series for the Astros today. Springer, Altuve, Brantley, then Bregman, Alvarez, Gurriel, Correa, Chirinos, Reddick. Astros getting set to face the 26-year-old right-hander, 6'8", Tyler Glasnow.
Well, he's got power. He's 90-60-99. With a little motion, you might see 100. At 6'8", when he delivers the ball, he is closer than any pitcher. So that fastball really gets on him. And I'm telling you what, this guy has Cy Young stuff. 62 2/3 innings, only 40 hits.
George Springer swings at the first pitch and flies out to Pham in left center, 1 away.
Joe, you said it. This guy has Cy Young stuff, but he doesn't get hurt. We are possibly talking about a Cy Young candidate. His fastball is the thing that amazes me. It is explosive. It is upper 90s velocity, sometimes touch triple digits. He also has a little cut on it, but the thing is, guys don't swing at it. It jumps on them, and before they can pull the trigger, it's by him, and they realize, oh, no, I'm walking back to the dugout.
I think that's because he is so close to you when he delivers it. He gets way out there, and he extends. And like you said, AJ, it just gets right on top of you, and he's got really good stuff. And if you're AJ Hinch, when you start thinking about Glasnow and Snell, they don't have a ton of pitches. Glasnow maybe has 85 pitches. So if you talk about, let's make sure that we stay within our zone. If he gives you a pitch to hit, but let's try not to chase, but it's easier said than done. And on the other side, Kevin Cash is loving this. First pitch outs, there's 100.
So you have the 6'8" Glasnow and the 5'6" Altuve at the plate.
Yeah, and I love what he's done. He's really simplified what he does. You look at that motion. He's really in the stretch all the time. And so he doesn't have to worry about 2 windups because the most important pitches are usually made in the stretch. So he's really simplified it. 100 miles an hour. And you see that little cut there, that life to it, AJ. Good luck, Houston.
98 miles per hour on that last pitch, now 1-2.
Well, he threw the 100. He threw a lawn dart into the grass. So he tried to overthrow that one, but
tried to bounce it.
You said Kevin Cash is happy. Yeah, he wants the Astros to swing at the first pitch every hitter if he can, because that just lets Glasnow go deeper into the game, save his bullpen for the whole series.
Shallow right field. Catch is made by Meadows. Altuve flies out, now 2 away. For the Rays defensively, brought to you by LinkedIn. From left to right of the outfield, Pham, Kiermaier, and Meadows. Choi at first base, Lau, Adames, and Wendell with Travis d'Arnaud behind the plate.
Well, that Rays defense is excellent, too. They made the 6th fewest errors in all of baseball. MLB considers them the 8th best team in defensive efficiency. So they're more about pitching and defense. When you look at Houston, it's pitching, offense, and defense. So the way they compete is they win low-scoring games.
Michael Brantley steps in, a 4-time All-Star, 0 for 8 lifetime against Glasnow. 0-1.
Well, Glasnow has the 0 for 8 of Brantley off Glasnow. Glasnow has the velocity to make Brantley speed up. If you watch his at-bats, he is always in slow motion when he steps into the batter's box, Michael Brantley. He controls the pace of the at-bats. Well, when you get 100 up, you got to speed up, and then he's able to throw the back foot curveball.
And when you face a guy like this, you talk about the hitter needs to get his foot down early. And the two guys that probably keep it the most simple are Brantley and Rendon from the Washington Nationals. He gets his foot down real early. You better get it down early if you're going to hit that fastball.
The 1-1. Deep center field. Kiermaier back on the track. Bates the catch. An 8-pitch, 1-2-3 first inning in his first postseason start by Tyler Glasnow. Dominion Freightled keep promises. Justin Verlander out of Old Dominion University on the mound for the Astros here in Game 1, facing Yandy Diaz, who homered twice in the wild card game in Oakland on Wednesday night, coming back from a left foot injury. A leadoff homer in the first, and then he went deep again in the third.
Well, think about that. He played one game before he came off the IL, and boom, first at bat home run, and then he hit another home run his second at bat, and they were almost identical pitches, and they almost landed in the same spot in the Oakland Coliseum.
Well, this was a homer in the first inning to lead off the game, to give them a lead against Oakland. And Tampa is best when they're playing ahead. And then he did it again later on in the game to make it 4-0. So Yandy Diaz, I tell you what, for only playing one game in the month of September, he's off to a great start.
Reddick in right makes the play to retire Diaz. 1 away. The umpiring crew, John Tungpain behind the plate, Bruce Freckman at first, the crew chief, Mark Wegner, out at second base, James Hoy at third, Gary Meals in left, and DJ Rayburn in right. Justin Verlander threw only 11 pitches in the first inning. He walked the leadoff man, Meadows, something he did only twice to begin a game during the regular season in 34 starts. Meadows erased on a double play, and then Choi caught looking. Now with 1 away here in the second, it's Nate Lau, 0 for 3 lifetime against Verlander.
Well, Brandon, I mean, he's had an interesting year. He was going to be an all-star, and he got hurt. He hit a ball off his shin. There's that great slider that down and in, and had a bad bone bruise. And when he was rehabbing in late August, he pulled a quad muscle, and they didn't think they would get him back. But this is a productive hitter, and you're not going to be productive if you chase that slider. This young man can hit, and he can play second base, and he's going to be there for a long time.
Verlander missing high, now 1-2. Brandon Lau, the American League Rookie of the Month back in April. 0 for 3 of the wild card game on Wednesday night. 1 out, top of the second inning here in Houston. Game 1 of the American League Division Series.
You know, a lot of times you'll get things as hitters and, you know, as catchers, what an umpire strike zone is. And you'll see where they give you a little bit. A lot of times umpires will give you a little bit away to left-handed hitters, but not in. And that ball was a borderline pitch in, and he didn't get it.
Right center. Springer, 2 out.
Well, also a lot of times umpires won't give you the ball in because they're set up on the catcher's inside shoulder to the hitter. A little bit different from by Tom Payne. He's actually set up right over the middle. So most umpires, if you throw it at their face, they won't give it because there is a little bit of flinch. I don't care who you are as a longtime catcher. I'd flinch every time a guy swung because it's just natural reaction. And umpires, if you throw a ball 97 miles an hour at their face, they're going to flinch and they'll miss that call more often than not, especially on the inside corner.
Travis d'Arnaud takes a called strike. Our Indeed.com player resume. Began the season as a New York Met. Then out west, 1 game with the Dodgers.
1 at bat.
That was it. And then acquired by the Rays in early May.
So does that mean he's got 2 chances to get a ring?
He does.
He's got 2 chances.
It was like Benji Molina, and was it 2010 when he played for the Rangers to start the year and then switched to the Giants at the end of the year? So both teams were in the World Series?
Yeah.
Now the 0-2 from Verlander. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Travis d'Arnaud has been huge for this club. They went out and traded and got Mike Zunino, who struggled mightily offensively. Is a very good defensive catcher. But Travis d'Arnaud, in just basically 200 at-bats, had 10 home runs and 47 RBIs in the second half. It's been a big part of their offense. He had some really good years with the Mets, too. But unfortunately, he hurt his elbow last year in April and underwent Tommy John. And I actually think that, when he came back with the Mets, it might have been a little bit too early. And he was playing catch-up a little bit this year. But he has found a home in Tampa, and he has made the most of it.
Career high 16 home runs, including 3 in 1 game at Yankee Stadium. And you think back to that Mets run to the World Series in 2015. d'Arnaud had 3 home runs during that postseason.
Yeah, I mean, he was in every one of those games. So this is not something new for him, which I think is a good thing for the young pitchers of Tampa Bay to have a guy that's really experienced.
Two outs, top of the second inning, the 1-2, another foul. Down the right field line off the bat of d'Arnaud.
What you said, Joe, I think you can describe almost a lot of the Tampa Bay Rays. They come to Tampa and they find a home after being kind of jettisoned away from different organizations. We showed d'Arnaud this is his 3rd organization this year, but the list of Rays players, they find a way to find a specific thing from a player. And Kevin Cash does an amazing job, and the organization, of incorporating into what the Rays want to do. They find that one thing. They make 25 guys mean more as a unit than they do as separate pieces.
The Rays used a club record 57 players this season, including 33 pitchers. Slow roller, fielded by Bregman. d'Arnaud retired. A 1-2-3 second for Justin Verlander. Alex Bregman will lead off for the Astros when we return. On fast 1. MVP chance as Alex Bregman steps to the plate to face Tyler Glasnow, leading off for the Astros in the bottom of the second inning, ball 1.
I think you take it as look at his numbers since August 1st. There are so many things that he was first in, average and RBIs and OPS, and I think that's why you probably hear all the chants for MVP. Interesting enough, Glasnow faced him in early to start the season. He faced him in the 3rd game, and he won the game 3-1. He went 5 innings and gave up 1 run, but it was a home run to Alex Bregman. And I look at those 2 first pitches. It looked like he was being a little too careful.
Now the 2-0 from Glasnow, missing low and away, ball 3.
Well, that's 3 Yanks fastballs, Alex Bregman. By Yank, down and away, not even close. Non-competitive pitches, basically. They're easy auto takes for Bregman. As soon as it's out of his hand, it's a ball.
And you're going to see d'Arnaud set up the middle, and that was something that Tyler talked about, that he got back to being an athlete and thinking about power down the middle, not trying to nitpick and hit the corners. So you'll see Darno sit down the middle and just, hey, wherever it goes, but let it go, your fastball or your curveball. And there it is again.
97 from Glasnow, full count.
Right down the middle, waist high, let it go. Bregman takes it. He gets more takes on his fastball than any pitcher in baseball, and it's because it's where he releases it, and it's so hard and has cut.
So after falling behind 3-0, Glasnow retires Bregman, one away.
Well, you see where he ranks in average fastball. He is third in all of baseball. We've already seen 100. We've seen a couple 99s. You better get your foot down and be ready when you're facing Tyler Glasnow.
How many times do you think Alex Bregman took a 3-1 pitch right down the middle?
Not very often. Not if you're an MVP candidate that hits 41 home runs. No chance.
I mean, he took that pitch and looked like it was on top of him before. And then 3-2, he came back with the exact same pitch and got an easy pop-up. That shows you the life he has.
So I think what you realize as a pitcher and as a catcher in his organization about Tyler Glasnow is, okay, yeah, it plays because people don't pick it up. You know, you wouldn't say just let it go down the middle as hard as you can, but people don't pick up his fastball. So that works for him. Maybe if he was throwing 92, 93, it wouldn't work. But at 96 to 100, it works.
98-mile-per-hour fastball in for strike one to Yordan Alvarez. What a rookie season.
Babe Alvarez.
Set an all-time record for OPS by a rookie.
Was second in slug in all of baseball, only behind Yelich. Oh. He doesn't do that a lot. And it looks like to me, AJ, and it's easier said than done, that the Astros have said, we're going to take the curveball. We just need to stay on the fastball. Because everyone has put a fastball in play. And they've taken most curveballs. That's the first curveball that they've swung at.
A 1-2, and Alvarez fouls it off.
That's a great plan, Joe, except for the fact this guy's throwing 98-mile-an-hour cutter balls that no one can hit. And they're taking them right down the middle. If you watch the dots of the takes that so far when they've been in the strike zone, almost every dot that we've shown on our little Fox box for a take has been right down the middle.
Right down the middle.
The first pitch to Alvarez, the 3-0, 3-1 to Bregman. I mean, these pitches are normally hammered by these Astro hitters, and they're just a little bit behind.
On the ground to the right side. Alvarez is retired, 2 away.
Well, you look at these first pitches, and it almost looks like his middle finger's on the side of the ball, and he fouls his fastball off. He misses, and then he throws him this curveball, and he gets him out front enough to roll over, and he gets a ground ball to 6-3, but they had the shift on playing on the right side.
Thrown out by the shortstop, Adames. Here's Yuli Gurriel. Drove in 104 runs during the regular season, 9th in the American League.
You're not hitting that, AJ.
Gurriel shaking his head not because of the call by John Tupain. I think he's being like,
really?
Saying, man, I can't believe that he threw that good of a pitch.
99 at the knees with the little cut.
Glasnow struggled during spring training and then had a tremendous month of April. He was the American League Pitcher of the Month. And then in early May, went on the injured list, missed 4 months. Came back in early September and made only 4 starts down the stretch.
They were pretty good, though. And he talked about those 4 starts were all like playoff starts because Tampa was fighting to get in. And I really believe that has probably helped him in this situation to be able to control his emotions. And he's throwing strikes, and he's getting quick outs.
Well, he was out for that time with the forearm strain, and he said his changeup was what he felt it on, not his fastball. You'd think normally that would be from a curveball, but he has scrapped his changeup since he's come back because that was the one pitch he said he felt it on. So then again, if I threw 100 with cut and the curveball he has, I'd probably scrap the changeup also.
Here's the 1-2 from Glasnow. Diving stop made by Adames. But Gurriel beats the throw.
You know, I think a lot of times Yuri Gurriel is really overlooked in this lineup because of all the superstars in front of him. Career high in home runs, career high in RBIs. But the one thing I noticed about Yuri Gurriel is he's a great strike breaking ball hitter. He will hit them very hard, and he will center them just like he did on that curveball. He'll chase, but if you throw it for a strike, he's going to hit it hard.
So an infield hit for Gurriel. Astros have their first base runner with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And Carlos Correa at the plate.
To your point, Joe, on the strike breaking ball, Gurriel's from Cuba. Almost every Cuban guy that I played with absolutely crushed strike breaking balls because they said, I remember talking to Alexi Ramirez, he was from Cuba, came over, and he crushed breaking balls in the zone. I said, Alexi, how do you hit all these? He said, when in Cuba, that's all we see, breaking balls, and if they're a strike, we have to hit them.
Welcome back, Carlos. 99 at the knees, maybe started a little in, cut over the inner half of the plate. Welcome back.
Only 11 plate appearances for Correa since the 19th of August. Played in only 75 games during the regular season due to injury. The 0-2. Shallow center, broken back, base hit. So the Astros down with runners on first and second and 2 outs.
Well, he gets a high fastball here, and he fights it off. I mean, he gets jammed a little bit, but you know what? That bat died a hero. And the big thing here to me is if you're the Houston Astros, it's not so much that you're getting some base hits, that you're making Glasnow throw more pitches because Snell has struggled. He is throwing tomorrow, and they're going to need their bullpen a lot in these next 2 days, especially if they don't get Glasnow deep into this game. So this could really set up the whole series.
Absolutely. Kevin Cash said it. Hey, we want, in an ideal world, we want at least 5 out of Glasnow. That saves all of our bullpen bullets. In the first inning with the low pitch count that Glasnow had, this inning, if they put runs on the board, bonus. Obviously, you want to score runs, but just the amount of pitches and the stress pitches now. Now these are stressful pitches. They add up.
He threw only 8 pitches in the first inning. 19 here in the second. Chirinos at the plate.
You got to be careful in, and you got to be careful with strike breaking balls to him as well.
Again, just throw it 97 right down the middle. I mean, watching this is amazing in these first 2 innings. Travis d'Arnaud does not move away or into any hitter. He sits right down the middle. His glove will be right at the point of home plate, and he'll go up and he'll go down with his glove. Usually you're shifting. You got pitchers say, hey, put this part of your body on this corner. No. Travis d'Arnaud is going to set right up, right down the middle. His glove will be right behind the point of home plate.
You know, and the one thing it does is, you know, sometimes you always worry about a catcher having to set up late. You worry about their stealing location. And you feel that, like, they can get a better idea of what the pitch is if you know if it's going to be away or if it's going to be in. You can't do that because he throws it right down the middle. That's where they aim.
The 2-1. Chirinos lines out to Pham and left. So a couple of base hits. Astros strand 2 in the second. Third game 1 of the American League Division Series on FS1. As Joey Wendell leads off for the Rays against Justin Verlander, making his 25th career postseason start.
The guy we showed coming back from break in the full astronaut, he's lucky the roof's closed. It's too hot to be wearing that if the roof and the air conditioner weren't on.
You're absolutely right. We came here for the workout yesterday, and the roof was open, and it was hot.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in that helmet yesterday.
For a second, I thought that might be our sideline reporter, J.P. Morosi.
I think it was. I think he put a fake mustache on, and
he'll do anything to get a story.
Ric Flair, that's Ric Flair out there.
Guys, that I can confirm, sources say that is in fact not me, but it could be me. If the show requires it, I'm happy to don that sort of apparel.
We would expect nothing less, JP.
And you wear that knowing you're getting on television, right?
you have to. I mean, just the blue chain, even if he just had the blue chain.
The 1-2 from Verlander to Wendell, missing away. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You know, the interesting thing about the Rays is, and you know, we talked about it, David versus Goliath, small market versus large market. For them to be able to survive 24 guys going on the injured list during the course of the season, the Yankees had the most 30, is truly amazing to me. Wendell was on 3 times, hamstring, wrist, and wrist. And that's why you see a lot of guys have 300 at-bats, 400 at-bats, 200 at-bats. And the way they've had to mix everything up and match. Diaz has been on 3 times. Kiermaier has been on with a bad thumb. It's truly amazing the job that Kevin Cash has done.
To your point, Joe, only 3 Rays were on their active roster for the entire regular season.
Can you guess? I mean, Choi,
Adames, Pham, Charlie Morton.
Wow.
That
Charlie
was it.
Morton, I didn't get it. Charlie Morton would have been my one that I would have, because he had 30
200
plus
innings,
starts.
right?
Yeah.
Payoff pitch from Verlander, called strike 3. Second strikeout for Justin Verlander in this game 1. Rays made a number of key acquisitions, including today's starter Glasnow and Charlie Morton. They started the season 35-19. In a tough American League East, they allowed the fewest home runs in all of baseball. Second most pitcher appearances, and they led the American League in earned run average.
Well, the appearances were a lot to do with, they used the opener a lot because Snell was down, Glasnow was down, Charlie Morton was able to stay healthy, and they used it 43 times. So when you use an opener 43 times, you're going to go through a lot of bullpen pieces.
Kiermaier bounces one, which is fielded by Bregman. Now 2 away.
When Kevin Kiermaier hit this ball, I thought for sure with Bregman on the grass, this is over his head. But he drop steps, gets to it. It's a nice throw, and Gurriel over there at first base with a great pick. But
well, he knew he had to hurry. And a lot of times you'll see a shortstop, which he played 50-plus games there this year, do that when they're going behind second base. They have to do that kind of that pirouette. And, you know, we talked about how defensively efficient they are. And that's a great play on both sides. You know, Gurriel, talk about his offense, he's a very good first baseman as well.
well, him playing shortstop, Bregman, for those games while Correa was out, that was the athleticism of a shortstop.
Well, this is the road warrior right here, Willie Adames. Hit over 300 on the road and about 220 at home. So, I mean, this young man has improved as the season has went along, and he's become more aggressive at the plate, which has helped him.
Adames shoots this one into center field. Springer is under it. Rays are retired in order in the 3rd. American League Division. Number 9 hitter Josh Reddick leads off for the Astros against Tyler Glasnow, who allowed 2 base hits in the 2nd inning. Astros stranded both base runners.
Well, we're going to take a look at Tyler Glasnow's fastball. We're talking about, you see Brantley take one right down the middle. I know it's 99. Bregman, that's a 3-1 pitch. You look at Alvarez right down the middle. Correa right down the middle. They're not picking up his fastball, but I would think the second time through they'll have a better idea. They've only faced him for 5 innings, and that was in early March, so they don't have a lot of at-bats off him. They'll get a better idea. He leads all of baseball in called strikes that hitters take over guys like Rich Hill, who has that great curveball, Adam Wainwright, who has that great curveball. But his are a lot of times on his fastball.
Reddick down on strikes. 1 away. First strikeout for 6'8" Tyler Glasnow, who sees eye to eye with his pitching coach, JP.
And that is true, Kenny, quite literally. His pitching coach is 6'8", Kyle Snyder, and Rays president Matt Silverman told me today that their bond has been palpable all season long, that Glasnow, who struggled with inconsistent deliveries in the past, has found a lot of comfort in his conversations with Kyle Snyder. His mechanics quite smooth as a result. And Matt Silverman also praised Snyder's acumen with the staff overall. He says he cares about the entire person, not just the pitcher on and off the field. The result, the Rays lead the league in ERA.
And JP, Kyle Snyder pitched 5 seasons in the big leagues with the Royals and the Red Sox. He's done a terrific job with the staff in Tampa.
You know, one of the things that the catchers will always think about, AJ, is changing patterns on how you get hitters out. And I think what he's done here, he started the last 2 hitters off with curveballs. I think you're going to see curveballs more early and then fastballs later instead of vice versa, is what he will try to do, just to kind of switch it up and how he gets you out. Because he's only got 2 pitches to go to.
Well, the thing is, you saw the first 2 pitches to Reddick were strikes, curveballs. Then he blew him away with the fastball, like you said. He went 2-0 on George Springer, who's one of the best fastball hitters in baseball, and he got him to swing out of the zone twice in a row, 2-0 and then 2-1. Why? They know they have to cheat to get to his fastball. So that makes you a little bit more anxious and makes you a little bit get outside of your strength in your strike zone because you have less time to react.
Yeah, I mean, he's filthy. And you look, you know what's amazing to me, too, is how wide his fingers are on that ball. And I know he's 6'8", and he's got long fingers. But sometimes it almost seems like his middle finger is below, you know, way below or on the side of the ball when he throws it. And maybe that's why he gets so much cut.
That's exactly right. That's what makes the cut. It's not the arm action, it's actually the placement of his fingers. And you had Mariano, and I talked to Mariano about his cutter. He just moved his hand. He threw it the same, moved his hand. Glasnow's doing that, probably not even knowing he's doing it. It's just always been there.
Payoff pitch to Springer. Ball 4.
Well, I would look for the Houston Astros to try to run here because Glasnow in 60 2/3 innings only gave up 40 hits. So in 9-inning game, you're only getting 6 hits off him. He is slow to the plate. Darno is an average thrower, but Glasnow has actually sped up his delivery to 1.5, 1.6. He used to be a 1.8, 1.9, and it was when he was, you know, feeling for it and not being athletic and trying to locate balls instead of just letting it go. But I would think at some point you're going to see Springer try to attempt to steal a stolen base if Altuve doesn't swing on the first pitch.
Altuve does swing at the first pitch. He fly to right his first time up. And now he pops out. Now 2 away with Springer on at first. The MLB postseason continues later today. Cardinals-Braves on TBS, followed by Game 1, Yankees-Twins on MLB Network. Finally, Dodgers and Nationals cap off the day back on TBS. Then tomorrow, Game 2 of the Yankees and Twins starting at 4 Eastern right here on FS1.
There's a lot of couch time today.
Yes.
A lot of couch time. A lot of trips to the refrigerator, snack area.
Full day of baseball. Here's Brantley. Fly to center his first time up.
See, I'd expect Springer to go on the first 2 pitches. He didn't go on the first pitch, but I'd expect him. If I'm Michael Brantley, I want him standing on second early in the count. Usually you'd like that to be the first pitch, or the second pitch. So now he could be 1-1 at the worst, and you would let him go, not swing at the pitch. But as the count gets deeper and deeper, you don't want him going, say, if his next pitch is a foul ball or a strike, you don't want him going 1-2, because then you can't take the pitch and allow him to go.
AJ, could you, though, as a left-handed hitter, see the base runner, or did you have a sense that as a right-handed hitter, it's easy to see? But as a left-handed hitter, it has to be a lot more difficult.
I could see fine. The thing was, I always told the coaches, if the guy steals, I'm swinging. That way I know I didn't miss a hit and run.
There goes Springer. Throw from Darno is not in time. George Springer steals second.
Well, he almost came off the bag because he slid late and tried to go to the outside of the bag and reach with his left arm to avoid the tag, and he almost went on, and it was a good job by Adames to keep the glove on him. Does it get off? Does it get off? No. I'll tell you what, Springer did a really good job of staying on that bag.
But Darno, no chance. He has zero chance. Curve ball, breaking ball, slow to the plate, Glasnow is. You can almost automatically steal that base if you're George Springer. You could have picked any pitch and gotten there, and now he's on second, but now Michael Brantley 1-2. It changes the at-bat. If he goes first pitch, it's 0-1, okay. But now it's 1-2. Michael Brantley's got to find a way to hit the ball to left field with the shift on.
Yeah, I think with that open, and you see Adames going back to the other side, Michael Brantley will beat a shift if you give him an opportunity. He has great bat control. So you see with 2 strikes, he went back over to the other side, and he will hold Springer a little bit, and Brantley's going to have to earn that hit a little bit more.
Here comes the 1-2 from Glasnow. Bounce to the right side. Charging is Lau. Safe! At first is Brantley.
The shift give it and the shift take it the way right here, Joe.
Yeah, it was more of how deep he was in the infield, and you could see that the Rays are going to take a look at this. This was always the hardest call for me to make as a manager. I couldn't tell whether a guy was safe or out at first. You could see other places. See Brantley hustling down the line. We'll get a really good look at this. Look at the dirt on the ball. I mean, that's great camera. Wow. Yeah, he's safe.
The Rays don't care, though. They're still going to take a look at it.
Well, you get 2. So you get an extra one. So I'm a little bit surprised that they're taking a look at this, because I think it was really clear, unless I missed something.
Fans react to the replay up on the board. Replay review powered by Mitel.
And Choi at first probably could have stretched more, as we see this quick save call, but because Lau was so close to him, he had to be ready for any kind of throw. And you can't allow the ball to get by you, because then the runner Springer on second will score. But normally he could stretch a little farther and probably get the out, but because he's so close to him, he can't fully stretch.
That's a great point, AJ, because he almost has to be almost like a fielder, to where he has to be able to move either way, because the ball cannot get by him. The catcher can't back up, so he can't vacate his spot because there's a runner on second. And don't be surprised, and I think their pitching coach Kyle Snyder's going out there and saying, just get the hitter. If I'm the Astros, I would put pressure on them. I would run here. And, you know, because I don't think they're going to throw through, because he's so slow to the plate. And then if you get a base hit, you're talking about 2 runs instead of 1. So if I'm Kyle Snyder, their pitching coach, I'm saying, hey, just get the hitter. We're not going to throw him out anyway. Don't get caught up in it. Don't try to do something different. Don't try to pick. Don't try to be quicker to home. Just get Bregman out.
My question is, why do you hold him on, Brantley? If you know he's going to steal and just going to let him, don't hold him on. I know that Bregman doesn't hit the ball a lot to right field, so Glasnow shouldn't throw over. And if he's not, then Choi shouldn't be holding him on. I know it changes scoring on a double, but I'd want all my fielders in the best position they could be in.
First pitch to Bregman. Low and away, ball 1.
Well, I think the reason you do it is you don't just want to give it. You don't want to encourage them to run. But I think it's a philosophy that you're going to tell your pitcher, the most important thing is the hitter. And if he goes, he goes. But you don't want to just give him the bag because they're not sure what you're going to do defensively.
Well, Brian Butterfield, who's the third base coach now for the Chicago Cubs, was when I was with the Red Sox, he was our third base coach. He loved the fake break because that would show you what the defense would do. If you take 2 or 3 false steps and you have a catcher, D'Arnaud throws average, like you said, but he's not probably going to backpick you at that time. It can show you what the defense can do on the first pitch. And then on the second pitch, you know they're not covering. Go ahead and walk the second base.
So then what becomes the catcher's responsibility? We're going to go out there and give a set of signs what we're doing, whether we're throwing through, whether we're eating it, whether we got a trick play on. Every time they do that false break or almost every pitch, you should give another set of signs. So they're really not sure what you're doing, or did you change? Oh, ho, hum, 98.
Two outs, bottom of the third. Runners on the corners. The 2-1 to Bregman. Glasnow missing high, ball 3.
How much of that meeting with Kyle Snyder was, hey, this guy hitting the possible MVP of the American League. Yes, I know Alvarez has had a great year, but he hasn't exactly gone right after Bregman. He's tried to make perfect pitches. Hey, if we walk this guy, yes, second's open, we still have a base open.
Yeah, you have 2 chances to get one hitter out. You're absolutely right.
Ball 4 to Bregman. Astros have loaded the bases here in the third.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Astros have done a really good job since that first inning when they were aggressive. On Glasnow, where they, only 8 pitches. He's thrown 42 pitches the last 2 innings, and he's only got probably 80 to 85. That's all he has. So this place is going to get loud, and this is where Glasnow has to relax and just make a pitch.
First pitch to Alvarez, catching the outside corner. 97 from Glasnow for strike 1.
And it's hard to say this, Joe, this early, third inning of the first game of a series, but this at bat could be the series right here.
I agree. I think this series becomes really tough if Tampa doesn't win one of these 2 games. And I think because of the guy on the mound, it's probably their best chance.
Astros during the regular season, franchise record 11 Grand Slam home runs. 1 from Alvarez. Behind in the count, 0-2. Glasnow delivers high. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Tried to hit the bull right there.
I tell you what, that's a tough play because a lot of times when the ball is up, your hand will end up going in front of your eyes. It blocks your vision for just a split second, and you got to try to make that play. And that's a great play by D'Arnaud.
At what point does he throw the breaking ball to him?
Right now? How's that?
I mean, he has owned left-handed hitters with his breaking ball the entire year, Glasnow has. So at some point, Alvarez has to get a breaking ball, and D'Arnaud has to stop it.
Called strike 3. Glasnow strikes out Alvarez with the bases loaded. We remain scoreless in Game 1 of the American League Division Series in Houston.
Back in Houston, joined by Astros manager A.J. Hinch. And A.J., how must your team continue to adapt against that incredible fastball from Glasnow?
Yeah, it's a good one, and we got to get some action before 2 outs. We're getting a lot of pressure on him with 2 outs. We keep that up, we're going to get the big hit, but I'd like to see us do a little bit more earlier in the inning to kind of create some havoc.
Alex Bregman told me yesterday he wants to continue improving defensively. After his display today, how is that possible?
Yeah, no, he always wants to get better. He's got an itch to do everything perfectly, and we're moving him around too. He hasn't played a lot of third base in the last couple months, makes great plays because he's a great player.
AJ, thanks.
Thank you.
Kenny?
All right, thanks, JP. Austin Meadows leading off for the Tampa Bay Rays here in the 4th. Justin Verlander has retired 8 straight after walking Meadows leading off the game. Meadows then erased when Pham grounded into a double play. The 2-0 from Verlander, in for strike one.
You know, it really is pretty amazing when you think about Meadows and Glasnow were in a package that they got from the Pirates last year, and how these guys have become such impactful players on their team.
In exchange for Chris Archer. Meadows pops this one up to the left side. Bregman, 1 out.
Well, he threw him a fastball away, 2-0, that had a little run and sink to it to get back into the count, and then he jammed him with the fastball. And Meadows likes the fastball in, but he threw it, really above his waist to where he couldn't drop the head of it on it, AJ, like you left-handed hitters like to do. You like that ball down and in, and he got him to pop it up.
Well, I thought it was a miss, though. It was a yank.
He
was trying to
miss.
go away, and that shows you don't always have to be perfect. He was trying to go away, yanked it in, and Meadows just got beat to the spot, got the easy pop-up. And that's the most frustrating thing for a hitter. His first at bat, he walked it, was very patient. You get your pitch, you think you should hit your second at bat, and you hit a weak pop-up. Those are the ones that bite you.
Strike 2 to Pham, who grounded into a double play his first time up.
You know, it's interesting to watch how different these guys do it, Verlander and Glasnow. Verlander's corner to corner, and you see the catcher, he's going to move a lot. Where Glasnow, Darno sits right down the middle.
Right field, Reddick. 2 away. T-Mobile is introducing its newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther. No signal is more reliable. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile is with you. 10 straight retired by Justin Verlander as Choi steps in. Called out on strikes back in the first inning.
Well, Kenny, you talked about 10 straight retired, and then Joe, you talked about it. You better get Verlander early because he gets stronger. Well, his numbers bear that out. His hit batting average against each time through the lineup gets lower and lower. I mean, the first time you only hit 180, so you better get him then, because after your first plate appearance, it goes down to 168. So, be patient. I don't know. Be aggressive. I don't know.
And I just think that's such the sign of an ace, and they smell victory. You know, they're able to go to the next level. And I remember when he was in Detroit, you know, he'd be throwing 94, 95. He'd get to the 7th inning, he was 98 to 100. And you had no shot. He doesn't have quite that top end. He's got to 97 today, but he's determined to try to get that back through his offseason workouts this year.
Crowd didn't like that. John Tempain's already called about that close on Choi, his first at bat, but this ball is well off the plate.
Well, I think it goes back to the strikeout on Alvarez. You know, they didn't like that call, and that was a closer pitch than that one. He's going to give you a little bit away to left-handers, but he's not going to give it to you into left-handers. So as a catcher and pitcher, you recognize that, and you say, okay, if I need a strikeout, it might be the place to go.
Three-one from Verlander. Full count.
And you know, now teams are able to get scouting reports on umpires, and you're able to get where their zones are. And I used to, as a manager, I would give it to the catcher, and I would show the pitcher and say, hey, look, this is where you're going to get a little bit. This is where you're not going to get any. So you have an idea and adapt your stuff to it.
Ball 4 to Choi. Second walk issued by Verlander.
Justin Verlander has changed his repertoire, like I talked about, with more sliders. 2016, that's only 3 years ago. 58%, but only 18% slider. Where are those numbers changed? It's in the slider. And that slider has become the weapon that gets him out of so many jams, gets him easy outs. And when he needs to strike out, especially against righties or lefties, you're going to more than likely get that slider.
Yeah, he only had 300 this year. And he's only got 3,000. So he knows what he's doing.
I'm glad he didn't have that slider when I faced him. He probably would have about 3,500.
So do we have your numbers off of him, AJ?
We do.
We do.
You ask, we deliver.
Yes.
257 average.
That's really good.
19 for 74.
Okay.
3 home runs, 11 strikeouts.
That's pretty good, AJ.
But you know the thing I'm most proud of? He never hit me.
He didn't.
Correa to second to retire the Rays in the 4th. Welcome back to the American League Division Series presented by Doosan on FS1 as Yuli Gurriel leads off for the Astros here in the bottom of the 4th inning against Tyler Glasnow. Astros loaded the bases in the 3rd, and then Alvarez struck out. They also stranded 2 base runners back in the 2nd inning against Glasnow. Gurriel, an infield single his first time up, and he sends this one to deep right center, and the catch is made on the warning track by Kiermaier to retire Gurriel.
Kind of an unnecessary jump by Kiermaier. A little unfamiliar with the surroundings here in Houston, but he goes a long way to get this ball. I wish I was this athletic. Well, he just jumps for no reason and still has a couple extra steps. Gets there quicker than he thought he would.
Yeah, he's got great speed. He plays deep, so sometimes you'll see some balls fall in front of him, but very seldom do you see a ball go over his head that he doesn't catch that's not a home run. I think he's a center fielder that plays deeper than most, but they don't give up doubles and triples because of that.
Well, would you rather give up a single or a double or triple?
Single. And some guys come in better than they go back, and that would be a reason that you would play deeper. I know they did that to Soto in Washington. I think every player has a way that they move better. Whether it's an infielder, do they go to their left or do they go to their right better? I know as a catcher, I blocked better to my right. It was more natural than going to my left. I found it harder. You were a left-handed hitter, so maybe you were the opposite.
No, I didn't block it. I just chased it at the backstop. No, you're right. There was. I think most catchers, because you're right-handed throwers, feel better going to your right than you do to your left. I agree. And Kiermaier just covers so much ground out there in the Trop, which just looks like the outfield is like Yellowstone Park out there. It's so large. They need him to cover that ground. His offense has lagged a little bit. As Correa takes another one right down the middle.
I mean, that's 2-0. I mean, I'm cheating on fastball, and you would think that he would be doing, but I'm just telling you, there is a lot of deception here that can't be measured by speed, but it can be measured by the takes.
The Astros can thank their teammate, Game 2 starter Garrett Cole, for some of Glasnow's success. They were teammates in Pittsburgh, and Glasnow was told us yesterday how much he learned from the time he spent with Garrett Cole.
He talked about how his work ethic, how focused he was on his plan of what to do.
Payoff pitch to Correa. Third strikeout for Tyler Glasnow in this Game 1.
Well, Joe, you said 2-0, 2-1, cheat on the fastball. We get to 3-2, and you got to hit this. With knowing 99's in the tank, you have no chance. Why would you take the 2-0 and the 2-1 heater? I know it's easier said than done, but you're right. 2-0, my chips are in, and I'm cheating like crazy to get the bat head out and try to hook one down in the Crawford boxes out there in left field.
I tell you what, it's a good job by Travis d'Arnaud centering that ball as he blocked it. He's a very good blocker, and he has been. And obviously, that your arm's going to be stretched up with his fastball, and you're going to have to block balls down with his breaking ball. Now, Chirino's had a good swing at his fastball the last time, and he lined it out to left field. So I would think that he's going to get Uncle Charlie here pretty soon, AJ.
Well, we thought that about Alvarez. He just threw fastballs right by him. So unpredictability with 2 pitches is tough, but Glasnow's accomplished it so far.
Download the Fox Sports Super 6 app. Play our weekend games for free for a chance to win up to $250,000. You got that, AJ? $250,000.
I need that. So
yeah, your house got hit by lightning.
We're not going to talk about that. But, yeah, Kenny, if you could just show me how to download it on my phone, and then come up with the username and all that.
You got it.
We'll do it. I'm going to need some inside tips, though, on the NFL from you, since you're Mr. NFL, Mr. NHL, Mr. MLB. So I'm going to go on that app. I'm going to be texting you saying, hey, give me the Atlanta-Houston scouting report this week so I know over-under, You
sticking around for the Texans game on Sunday?
Unfortunately.
How do you do it? How's he do it?
Boxing. I forgot boxing, too.
Well, it's baseball today and tomorrow, football Sunday, and Chirino's down on strikes. A 1-2-3 fourth for Tyler Glasnow. In band, and you guys both caught one.
Wow.
Has that ever happened in a broadcast booth?
I don't think so.
2 catchers who both caught perfect games.
Could have been a pitcher and a catcher, though.
Maybe, but 2 catchers? There's not a lot of. There's only, 23 you said, and
23.
only 22 catchers, because didn't someone catch 2? Ted Simmons, I think he caught 2. Somebody caught 2, I think.
I thought it was you.
Ron Hassey caught. I came close, but.
Well, Tampa, I mean, as advertised, their pitching has been very good. Now, they need to score some runs off of Verlander, and eventually that bullpen's going to get in, and that's extremely dominant. But when you have pitching, you have a chance to win every day, and that's what they've done. When they've beaten the Astros this year, it's been low-scoring games. They won 4-2, 3-1, 3-1. They did win one 9-8, but this is Tampa baseball.
Yeah, but there's one problem right now with Tampa baseball. There's a 0 in the run column. There's also a 0 next to that in the other column.
Yeah.
And if they don't get something going against the guy on the mound for Houston and Justin Verlander, their pitching could be as great as they want, but at some point you have to score to win.
Yeah, and you can say that about Houston. Their offense is great, and they've scored 150 more runs than the Braves have this year, but we're locked in a great pitcher's duel. There's your hit, AJ. You jinxed him. I told you. In between innings, don't say it.
I didn't say anything about it. I just said there's a 0 in the middle column.
Well, there is the first hit of the game off Verlander. Brandon Lau into right center.
Just a high breaking ball. Lau actually jams Lau. He's able to beat the shift and just throw it out into right center.
That's your fault, by the way.
Here's the thing about that. People can say, oh, you jinx this, you jinx that. Look, when we're just talking about perfect games, Mark Burley threw a perfect game and talked about it the whole 9 innings.
Well, that's Mark Burley.
So I don't believe in it.
Pitched like he was double parked all the time. But the Rays had 8 stolen base attempts off of Houston in 7 games. And they know that they're going to have to push the envelope here. They stole a lot of bases during the course of the season. They stole 94 bases during the course of the season. Everyone seems to run a little bit in their lineup. Wendell's 8 for 11. Lau is 5 for 5. Even Darno has 1 stolen base, so they will try. I think at some point they're going to try here.
Here's the problem. Verlander has one of the best right-handed moves in all of baseball. His feet are extremely quick.
Oh, yes, they are.
And he's pretty quick to the plate, so you better make sure you're right. And if you make an out on the bases, Kevin Cash might grab you and say, hey, let's not try to do that again.
Well, I think he knows, though, they're going to have to push it. And the other thing that Verlander has, you talk about the quick feet, and you're right, they're as quick as any. He has a little balk move.
That one?
The one that his back knee will buckle a little bit first, or the front knee buckles, and then he'll come over to first. So as you watch, that is not the balk move, but it's so subtle, and base runners watch, the pitcher's knees, and he has it in his repertoire.
Lau takes his lead off first. Pitch to Darno is pop foul.
That was right above us. And I don't like pop-ups.
I'll catch him.
You got it?
I couldn't catch him on the field, but if they come in the booth, I got you.
All right.
And yes, AJ, it was Rod Hasse who called two perfect games.
Second guess.
Len Barker and Dennis Martinez.
Dennis Martinez had a curveball that was impossible to hit. And it almost looked like Travis was trying to shoot that hole.
Why wouldn't you?
Between first, it's a big right field. You know, Reddick does throw well, but you might be able to get first and third and really get something going here. Rays can score a run. Ozzie Timmons has got his 10 push-ups. Every time they score a run, he does 10 push-ups.
Rays first base coach. Darno pops this one up. Correa is under it. 1 out. The American League Division Series on FS1 is sponsored by Taco Bell and by Hankook Tire. Chase down your passion, never halfway.
Now, normally, with Wendell hitting here, you'd think, possible hit and run, try to go first and third, put pressure, but the whole left side of the infield's already open, so there's no advantage to it other than protecting the runner Lau trying to steal second. Other than that, usually you put a hit and run on to open up holes for a defense, for an offense, but the whole left side's already open with a shift, so unless you think you can make it, there's really no advantage to stealing. Stay out of the double play, possibly. Just for the new shifting, you have to think different as a manager.
Yeah, and like you're talking about staying out of the double play, it might give you that one shot with a runner in scoring position that you can score. And as a catcher, I always found it harder to throw with a left-handed hitter up because you have to clear them more. It's a little bit bigger step. It's a little bit more footwork, and sometimes your weight is kind of going towards third base instead of going forward, and your ball can get some run to it up the second base side. So, I mean, this is a good chance to win, especially run if you can pick a slider in. The higher the pitch, the more a catcher can cheat and start his feet early. Sometimes, you know, from the bench, you'll get a high fastball called because you think they're running, but you don't necessarily want to throw a pitch out.
And that pitch right there, the high fastball, Verlander rushed. Thinking about, hey, they might try to steal a base. He rushed here, got underneath it. That's the pressure if you have guys with speed and the possibility. Now, you don't have to steal the base, but sometimes just the thought of a stolen base.
So, AJ, explain why when you rush as a pitcher, the ball stays up in the zone. Is it because your arm doesn't catch up?
Yes, because your body gets out in front of your arm. So, therefore, your arm doesn't have the time and the rhythm that you normally have because your body rushes, boom, leads to a high pitch.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Wendell at the plate. Kiermaier on deck. Lau takes his lead off first.
You know, I almost feel this is a game. Who's going to blink first? You know, that sort of thing. Who's going to score first?
Verlander strikes out Wendell. Now 2 away.
Just a filthy curveball. We've talked about Glasnow's curveball. Justin Verlander says, I'll match you that curveball. All the sliders, high fastballs, and then you're just able to drop that in with 2 strikes. Just so many weapons for Justin Verlander.
And the textbook blocking by Chirinos, one of the best in the game, where it hits him right in the middle of his chest. It falls right in front of him, and the base runner at first can't advance.
So with 2 away, here's Kiermaier. Rounded out to third, his first time up.
You know, Kiermaier hurt his thumb sliding and went on the DL. It was on a stolen base attempt. And what I find interesting in that, and he did it in the second half. He did it in the end of July. He hit .252 with 10 homers and 41 RBIs in the first half. His second half was not good. 188 with only 4 homers. And I wonder if it was because of that thumb and his hand just didn't feel good. called a little thumb guard where you don't want to get jammed, because when you get jammed and it bruises you on the in between your index and your thumb, it is so painful, and it's hard to hit.
Kiermaier, the senior member of this Tampa Bay Rays squad, now behind in the count, 1-2.
AJ, I'm a little bit surprised they haven't run to this point, you know, but I wonder if with Brandon Lau, who had the pulled quad, he pulled his left quad, and that's why he missed another month, is the reason that he's not running.
That, or they just don't think they can make it. Verlander's so quick. Chirinos throws well. If you can't make it, there's no point in giving him a free out. Ozzie Timmons is at first base with a stopwatch.
Yeah.
And they have the numbers.
They're giving him times like he's a 1-2-5, 1-3.
Anything above 1-3 usually is a go. And if he's 1-3 or under, it's almost physically impossible to make it without a bad throw. So you don't want to count on Chirinos making a bad throw.
But to me, a 1-3 is for a good base stealer, not just an average base. It's almost got to be a 1-4 or 1-5. You're really kind of trying to pick the pitch to run on, right? It's a breaking ball down. He has to block it. Hey, but the Bat Boys are getting some exercise here with the foul balls Kiermaier's providing.
Verlander has thrown 17 pitches here in the fifth, most in any inning for Justin today.
He's been really economical. I mean, if you look, and if you're on average below 15 pitches per inning, you're having a good day, and you're getting deep in that game.
By the way, Joe, you were asking about some of AJ's stats against Justin Verlander earlier. Verlander has only allowed 3 grand slams his entire career. AJ was the first to do it.
I don't know what that gets me. I know it got Justin Verlander really mad at me when I hit it.
But he didn't hit you.
I don't know why. Everyone else did.
It was back in 2006.
So how many years had you been in 2006? What was your first year?
98.
98.
1-2 to Kiermaier, another foul.
That was an interesting meeting for me. You got a 1-2. I know Kiermaier's fouled off a lot of pitches, but Chirinos trotting out there. I think that was more of a, hey, let's give you a little breather. This is the most pitches you've thrown this inning. And let's also try to get on the same page, but more of a breather meeting, I think. And, hey, catch your breath. This is a big out. Get this guy and try and go in and score your run.
There's a lot of trust between these two, and it really started in spring training because Chirinos is new. And Justin Verlander relies so much on his catcher that they're always in sync. And they started watching sequences in spring training to make sure that they could get on the same page.
Good fouls.
The longer an at-bat goes, I always got more nervous as a catcher or a manager that eventually a pitcher was going to make a mistake and the hitter was going to be right on it, and it was going to turn into something that we didn't want.
Well, Kiermaier has fouled off 4 in a row. Verlander wins the battle. Lau with a leadoff single. He's stranded. A quick word now from Roman. Game 1 of the American League Division Series still scoreless. Bottom of the 5th in Houston. Tyler Glasnow facing Josh Reddick. Struck out his first time up. Glasnow over the first 4 innings threw 66 pitches. He threw 66 in his last start, and that was the most in 4 starts since returning from 4 months on the IL.
Well, I think the max you're going to see him is going 85 pitches. And I think they're going to let him go through Altuve. I think if he gets in trouble, I don't know if they'll let him face Brantley. They have a left-hander and a right-hander up. The left-hander's McKay, and that is for Brantley. And then they'd go to a right-hander for Bregman.
I don't know, with those first 3 pitches all not close, all velocity down, dip in velocity. We showed Kevin Cash on the phone. I think he's telling the righty and the lefty, hey, be ready possibly for the next hitter.
Reddick walks on 4 pitches.
This has been the challenge that Kevin Cash has had really the whole year. And the last month, they tried to rehab basically Snell and Glasnow in the big leagues, right? And you see Anderson, who's a great strikeout pitcher. McKay, outstanding fastball up to 97. I would think he would be for Brantley. There's a big difference between Brantley versus left-handers and right-handers. Yeah, he still hits for a decent average, but there's no power numbers there. And I would think he might be for one hitter.
Time now for a quick word from Roman Health.
Get started with your free online visit at GetRoman.com/TV. Roman, proud partner of Major League Baseball.
That purpose served, that meeting served for 2 different reasons. 1, to try to get him back on track, but 2, to give those relievers a little bit more time to get warmed up.
McKay on the left, Anderson on the right. Reddick takes his lead off first. First pitch to George Springer, in for a called strike, 0-1.
You know, I don't know what's happened in the game, AJ, but if we could show those 2 guys warming up in the bullpen again. AJ, will you explain, help these kids get this right?
They need to switch. The lefty needs to be on the other side and the righty. Because as a catcher, I know going down there, they were throwing out of each other. They were throwing out of each other's arm slot, and it can get distracting down there.
We saw that last night, too, in a game. We were like, what are they doing? I tell you, those pitchers are a funny breed.
The 0-2 from Glasnow, and Springer strikes out on 3 pitches.
You talk about bouncing back in a big way. I mean, he just looked like he had no idea where his fastball was going to Reddick. And he just comes and throws 3 fastballs, 97, 98, down the middle, and strikes out Springer, who's a really good fastball hitter. I mean, it's right down the middle. But you don't pick it up.
He didn't even...
No. Flinch.
That's a really good fastball hitter. One of the most dangerous fastball hitters in baseball. And he took 3 fastballs, boom, 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 good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Yeah.
And now he gets to face another one.
He's going to be ready, though.
Oh, yeah. Altuve never saw a first pitch that he didn't like to swing at.
And it's amazing with how far he stands away from the plate and how little he is, the plate coverage that he has, and how he fouls off tough pitches away.
The advantage he has, yes, he stands off the plate, but he dives, but he's got such short arms that he can get to the ball inside.
The 0-1 from Glasnow, who has struck out 4 of the last 6 Astros hitters.
You know, I find it interesting. One of the things that Kevin Cash talks about is ups. When he talks about how many innings you're going to let a pitcher go. It's not always about the pitchers, but it's about how many times they have to sit down and get back up. And the most he's done this year is 5 since he's come back.
Altuve crushes this one. 2-0 Astros. postseason home run for Altuve, who hit a career-high 31 during the regular season. And that will end Tyler Glasnow's afternoon. Bottom of the fifth in Houston, Jose Altuve takes Tyler Glasnow deep to give the Houston Astros a 2-0 lead over the Tampa Bay Rays. Altuve has now homered in Game 1 of the division series 3 straight years.
That's amazing. And what I find amazing is, AJ, is how he caught up to that fastball that was basically above his belly button. And there aren't too many hitters that can catch up. But his bat-to-ball skills are absolutely amazing. And the other thing I find amazing is in the games that he played, they won 81 games. He hit 352. In their 43 losses, he hit 190.
And now a base hit into right field off the bat of Brantley on the first pitch thrown by the 23-year-old left-hander Brendan McKay.
Well, finally somebody cheated and got the head out on one of these Glasnow fastballs. We keep talking about it, kept talking about it. Man, why has nobody just cheated? Guess what? Jose Altuve cheated and sneaks this ball right down the left field line inside the foul pole. And look at the head. It's just out in front. The ball's out in front. It's easier said than done. 98 cutting away from you, but he's explaining to Aldemus Diaz right now how he did it. Look, I just got the hips into it and got the bat out front, and 2-0 Astros.
Here's Bregman.
And what I just like that they showed, he stood up and started clapping when the fans start chanting MVP for Bregman. I mean, that's a great teammate. And this guy has been a special player for a long time and just wants to win. And it's had to beat a lot of odds to get to where he is. But he's one of the best players in the game.
Altuve, the American League MVP back in 2017.
I think McKay, they're going to let him go through Alvarez, and they have a right-hander up in the bullpen. And the one thing, if you're the Rays, because those 4 or 5 guys in the back end of the bullpen are so important and you don't get a ton of innings, you see that they've sat Anderson down and now got Rowe up, because Anderson is in a tie game or winning game or maybe down by 1, not in a game they're losing 2-0.
McKay, a first-round pick, 4th overall by the Rays back in 2017. Started 11 games this year. Did his major league debut back in late June. He retired the first 16 Texas Rangers he faced.
And he's a two-way player. He can hit.
So how many at-bats did he get this year in the big leagues?
10 at-bats with the Rays.
And how many hits?
2 base hits.
Yeah. That's about what I hit, so he should get more.
One of his 2 hits, a home run.
There you go. I tell you what, I was impressed by Tyler Glasnow. And AJ, you said it on break. I think he ran out of gas, like you said. And he pitched extremely well. You see his pitching coach with his arms around him, it looks like. He's given him an opportunity to win this game. They got to find a way to score some runs, and that's not easy off of Verlander.
To Bregman, and he sends this one to deep left field. It's off the out-of-town scoreboard. Bregman in at second, and Brantley now at third. Saw the left fielder Tommy Pham laboring.
The chance of MVP for Alex Bregman as he comes up, hits a double, but Pham just looks like he caught his hip almost on the the funky scoreboard out there.
Yeah, where the numbers go, and I think on the outside of the numbers, it's raised a little bit, AJ. And I think when he jumped up, he caught his hip, and he's been beat up. His legs, his right arm, the shoulder this year. He doesn't need any more issues.
And you said McKay was out there to get through Alvarez. The problem with that is, guess who's sandwiched between Brantley and Alvarez? The possible MVP of the American League, and he makes him pay. And now the Rays can't afford to give up any more runs. They have to be really careful here with Alvarez. Try to get a strikeout if you walk him. You have Chaz Rowe ready to try to get a strikeout or a double play out of Gurriel.
And I thought Kiermaier did a good job of backing up in left field and keeping that just to a double, because it ricocheted off the wall pretty well, and Brantley wasn't able to score. So they got the infield in. 3 guys on the right side.
Alvarez 0 for 2. Takes a called strike, 0-1.
So as we take a look at Kiermaier, look at how he responds, and he knows in FAM if it comes off the wall, he's against the wall and he's not going to be able to get it. And there's Kiermaier that makes a good throw and keeps that runner from scoring. So there's always a place that every ball's hit that someone should be at. You should never be standing in your position, and Kiermaier did a good job there.
0-2 on Alvarez.
Well, the Rays are used to playing on high left field walls. They get a bunch of games in Boston every year with the Green Monster. So Kiermaier's a center fielder, knows, hey, a ball off the wall, and that wall is not as high as the Green Monster in Boston. But he knows, hey, if the left fielder gets back to the wall, I got to be there to back up in case it does ricochet. And he saved the run for now.
Rays won 8 of their 9 games at Fenway this season.
So, AJ, do you go to a sweeping breaking ball here, or do you try to throw another heater by him?
I go heater right by him again. He's thrown 2 by him.
Alvarez strikes out, 2 away. That will be all for Brendan McKay. 2 on, 2 out, 2 runs in here in the 5th. Division Series presented by Doosan on FS1. Astros lead the Rays 2-0. 2 on, 2 out. Third pitcher of the inning for Tampa Bay, the veteran right-hander Chaz Rowe, who led the Rays with 71 appearances during the regular season. Joe, you had him for a brief time back in 2014 with the Yankees.
Slider monster. You're going to see about 70% sliders to right-handed hitters with him. And the thing is, his slider has more break than anyone in the big leagues. It has over 15 inches of break, and you hear a lot about Adam Ottavino's. It's got more than his. So if you're Gurriel, I would almost sit on a slider, and you got to make sure it's a strike slider. If he does, he's got a good shot at hitting it.
Runners on second and third, 2 outs, strike 1.
And AJ, that was the one to hit.
The problem with that was it started at him. So it buckled him right away out of the hand. And I had Chaz Rowe in Atlanta, and you're right, Joe. I mean, this guy's slider breaks like no one slider I've ever seen before. Just keeps going away from right-handed hitters.
And the thing is, he's got a fastball that gets up to 93 and cuts, but he's so confident with this slider.
And he is the definition of a right-handed specialist.
Yes.
He does not want to face lefties. And in September, he faced only 3 hitters just twice in 14 appearances. So he's 2 hitters, get him out. 1 hitter, get him out.
And it's that masterful job that the Rays have done in constructing their bullpen and having Kevin Cash manage it, when to use guys in certain situations. And in September, their bullpen had the best ERA in all of baseball. The problem for Kevin, though, is he doesn't have 15 guys in the bullpen anymore. So he's going to need a little bit more length out of some starting pitchers.
And over the course of the entire season, the Rays bullpen led the league in earned run average. Brantley and Bregman, the base runners. Altuve with a 2-run home run earlier in the inning. A 1-2 to Gurriel. And he shoots this one into shallow right. And it's off the glove of Lau, allowing 2 runs to score.
That's a huge break for the Astros. And what I saw, AJ, in that pop-up is it almost looked like Lau heard Meadows maybe say, I got it in the end, and pulled away from it. I think Meadows could have got it. It almost looked like he heard him say something, or maybe he saw him out of the corner of the eye and pulled up. But it's a play in a game like this, and the Rays have a very good defensive club that has to be made.
My question is that's Austin Meadows' ball in right field. He's got to come get that ball no matter what. Full speed. That's not Lau's ball.
Yeah.
And you saw Lau running on that replay. He looks at Meadows like, hey, buddy, come help me out. We need this ball caught. I know Meadows is playing deep. I know that he's not. It's a long way to run, but the right fielder has to catch that ball coming in. And the Rays had a hard time scoring 1 run off Justin Verlander. As we see this replay again, Lau takes a look right here. Meadows, come help me, come help me. And then he realizes, hey, Meadows, stop. I got to do everything I can. The Rays had a hard time scoring 1 run off Verlander. How on earth are they going to score 4?
Yeah, they're going to have to put some hits together and hope somebody can hit one out of the ballpark on him. That's not easy to do. Because as we know, he had the lowest whip in baseball, which is the amount of runners that get on, per inning. So it's going to be tough to score 4. And now if you're A.J. Hinch, you really want to push the envelope, because now all of a sudden maybe you don't have to use your big 3 in the back end of the bullpen. You can use some of the lesser guys and maybe get a little bit more out of them tomorrow if you need it.
Runner goes, throw to second from Darno is not in time. Gurriel steals second base.
Well, I think that's one thing that's underrated about these Astros. They don't run a ton, but when they do, they're successful and they're smart. And Gurriel knew that he had an opportunity to steal that base because Rowe is slow to home. You see him looking at the cards about what to throw in this certain situation or what we're using with runners on second in this certain situation. But now a base hit probably scores him, especially with, I know left field is short and Pham throws pretty well, but he's been beat up. His shoulder's been beat up, and it might be a little bit difficult to throw him out at home.
Four runs in the inning for the Houston Astros on 3 hits, a walk, and an error.
That's a tough error.
I agree.
Especially at home. Gurriel wants the. I know it doesn't matter in the postseason, but you still want that knock and the 2 RBIs, right?
But would you agree that's a play that should have been made?
By the right fielder, not the second baseman.
But could the second baseman have caught it?
Obviously,
had he not stopped?
Obviously not.
I thought he pulled up and is the reason they didn't make the play. But the other thing is you play so far up the middle because it's not a shift, but he's not going to hit a ball probably through that hole on the right side that it's a long run for the second baseman.
Correa down on strikes. Astros score 4. Starting with this, Altuve taking Glass down deep. 2 more runs score on the error. 4-0 Astros. We head to the 6th. Justin Verlander finally back on the mound following that long inning. His teammates scored 4 runs. Astros sent 8 men to the plate in the bottom of the 5th inning to break open a scoreless game. Verlander has allowed only 1 base hit to this point. Has faced only 2 batters above the minimum. His numbers through 5.
You know, AJ, I thought it was kind of what the doctor ordered for Justin Verlander because he had to kind of work hard in the top of the 5th where he threw 20 pitches, the most he's thrown. And you get 4 runs and a nice little rest, and you can regroup and you re-energize and go out and make pitches.
Huge inning for the Tampa Bay Rays in this game. They have got to find a way not only to score some runs in this inning, while Verlander, like you said, longest inning of the day, but they got to put some pressure on him and also make the Astros think about how they're going to use their bullpen.
Adames down on strikes. 5th for Verlander today.
Well, he gets out of the 1st inning with his double play after he walked Meadows, and it's an outstanding play by Bregman, Altuve, and Gurriel, and he likes it. And then he strikes out Choi in the 1st. Then he gets this high breaking ball, backdoor slider, and then he throws that really good curveball. Strikes out Kiermaier after a long at bat in the top of the 5th. But again, he got that good rest because the Astros put 4 on the board and saw a couple different pitchers in the innings. 2 pitching changes.
3 consecutive strikeouts for Verlander as Meadows steps in and he takes strike 1.
You know, we talked about Verlander the first time through, the 3rd time through. First time 185, 2nd time 178, 3rd time, guess what? You hit 153 off it.
$18 of his last 21 pitches have been strikes. Here's the 0-1. Missing away.
Well, he is the definition of an ace. That's what you want to see out of an ace, right? Get better and better and better each time through the order. Get stronger as the game goes, and he's done that throughout his career.
I mean, there's a lot of days he goes out there, you know your bullpen's not going to have to work very hard. And I know it's changed a little bit with age. He used to throw more innings and get deeper in games, but you can almost count on 7th when he goes out there.
And guess what, Rays? You get to face that guy tomorrow, Garrett Cole, who led all of baseball in strikeouts, outdueled Justin Verlander in the strikeout race, and also has 20 wins.
His stuff is ridiculous, too.
The lockers are right next to each other. They finished 1-2 in most of the major pitching categories this season, and we assume they will also finish the 1-2 in American League Cy Young Award voting.
J.P. Morosi has an AL Cy Young vote. I want to know who he voted for.
Off the record, no comment.
We'll find out after the voting is released.
You will.
I mean, they could have a clean sweep on all the major awards.
And no team has ever done that. MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year. It would be a first.
I got a funny story about that. So, my rookie year with the Cubs in 1989, Jerome Walton had a great year. Dwight Smith had a great year, and they were in Montreal. We were in Montreal in end of September, and Dwight Smith said to Jerome Walton, he said, "Man, we're going to be first and second in Rookie of the Year." And Jerome Walton looked at him and said, "Yeah, me one and you two." Smitty didn't like it, but that's how it ended up.
Of course, Verlander and Cole could finish in a tie.
Yeah, I could go for that.
Well, I know one guy that wouldn't go for that. The guy on the mound. He's so competitive. He brought up J.P. Morosi not voting for him twice in the Cy Young. That cost him Cy Young awards, and he hasn't let that go. JP, our own JP, was the Detroit beat writer at the time.
Did Justin bring that up, AJ, or did you bring that up?
Well, JP brought it up to me to bring it up to Justin.
That was not my suggestion.
Now the payoff pitch, and Meadows fouls it back to the screen. Some pressure on you this year, JP.
I'll tell you what, guys. I voted for the guy who gave up 66 runs this year. And if you do some homework on that one, you'll find Garrett Cole gave up 66 and Verlander gave up 66.
All right, so he's narrowed it down for us.
So wait, do you get a first and how many places do you get in the vote, JP?
Five spots in the ballot. I had to do some homework. There were some other candidates in the ballpark today I had to think about. But a great ballot. It's a tough task, but it's a lot of fun to go through it. Get a lot of feedback from people around the game, of course, in addition to all the numbers.
Okay, well, since you won't tell us, I'm taking Garrett Cole. I know Verlander's already got one, so I say be a good teammate, Justin. I mean, you're going to the Hall of Fame already. Let your teammate have one before his free agency or let him get paid even more.
Did you ever face Garrett Cole?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I did.
How'd you do on him?
I got infield double.
Two for 9.
An infield double. Okay,
yeah.
Can you explain
infield
that to
double?
me?
I actually had 2 of them, and they changed one of them to an error. But I hit Choppers, the third baseman. They charged them, and they kicked them. And the ball went all the way across the infield. I just kept running. It happened twice. They gave me one. They took away the other one later. Infield doubles.
I've been really impressed with the at-bats that Meadows has had off of Verlander. He's walked twice. And that's not something Justin Verlander does a lot of. And I think it shows you the respect that he has for Austin Meadows, who had a great September, who had a great year. He's got power, 30 home run power. Just an outstanding young player.
Missing inside to Pham, ball 2.
And those are the first 2 pitches Verlander's thrown where he looks like he's a little bit out of sync. Yes, he walked Meadows on a close pitch, 3-2. But those next 2 pitches here to Pham they almost look like a tired guy. And you see Chirinos going out there to talk to him, and now AJ Hinch is like, okay, maybe we might have to get somebody up, get him loose. I know he's only at 86 pitches. But you look for signs, right, Joe? As a manager, you look for signs. Not necessarily the results, but you look for little subtle signs in your pitcher. Hey, he might be getting tired. He might be losing a little bit. In the playoff games, you don't want to give the other team any opportunity.
And a lot of times the signs will be the swings that hitters have or throwing too many balls. You're not commanding the zone. But it also can be body language. Body language can tell you a lot about how a guy feels and if he's done.
1 out, top of the 6th inning. Bregman to second for 1. One throw, on the bounce, double play. One more look. 4-0 Astros, middle of the 6th. The Rays 4-1 of the American League Division Series. Astros scored 4 in the 5th. Robinson Chirinos, the only Astro who did not come to the plate in that 5th inning, leads off against Chaz Rowe. Chirinos 0 for 2. Struck out his last time up. Rays with no runs, 1 hit, 1 error. Astros 4 runs on 6 base hits. 1-1 on Chirinos.
Slider, slider, slider.
He looks like he might have hurt something on that one. The way he's reacting, either frustration or Chaz Rowe took a. Usually, the guy turns around and gets the ball right back. He took a little walk right there to compose himself.
Yeah, it's always interesting, I think, too, because of the landing spots are all different for every pitcher, and sometimes you see as he kind of trips and it looked like he almost caught his spike. The hole maybe is not quite right for you, and Verlander's been out there a long time. Glasnow was out there a long time. So you see Drake warming up, and you're saying, okay, why are you getting another right-hander up? He's much more equipped to get left-handers up because of his split. And you talk about Rowe. He doesn't want to see left-handers, but with the split that Drake has, he has reverse splits. He's a right-hander that gets left-handers out better.
Leadoff walk, Trios to first. The MLB postseason continues later today. Cardinals Braves on TBS, followed by Game 1, Yankees Twins on MLB Network, and then the Dodgers and Nationals cap off the day back on TBS. Tomorrow, Game 2 of the Yankees and the Twins starting at 4 Eastern right here on FS1. Josh Reddick struck out in the third, walked, came around to score in the fifth. On Wednesday night, while the Rays were busy winning a wild card game in Oakland, Josh Reddick became a father.
Really?
His wife Jet gave birth to twins, Maverick and Ryder. Right back to the box. Rowe to second for one. On to first. 2 babies, 2 outs.
Well, you said Maverick, and I was hoping you were going to say Goose as the second. That's the second child's name. But Ryder, Maverick, and Ryder. Congratulations to Josh Reddick. Not so much on the double play, but Twins 2 for the price of 1.
How much sleep do you think he's getting this offseason?
None.
They're going to be at that time when the playoffs are over for them, whether they go the whole month or there's going to be some nights where you're woken up a few times.
Josh hoping for a long October run.
Yeah.
My daughter was born in 2005, the year we won the World Series. She was born September of that year. So I understand, not with twins, but what he's doing. My first child, and here you go. By the way, it's when you get home, your wife is like, you've been gone for 6 months. Here's your kid.
Look at that. Little headphones. It gets loud in the ballpark. So my first daughter was born during the 96 September before the playoffs.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was the same thing when you got home. Your wife was like, here you go.
Yeah, but I think that first one, you're so excited and you know, you like whatever. I didn't sleep much during the baseball season. It'd just be a little bit longer.
My firstborn 20 years ago tomorrow.
Really? And you're not home. We got to send her a happy birthday tomorrow. Yeah.
Happy birthday to Amanda.
Amanda, happy birthday tomorrow.
In Syracuse. She goes to Syracuse, correct?
Oranges everywhere. You got Tropicana Fields, you got Minute Maid. And
right, this is the Orange Juice Series. Minute Maid Park, and then Tropicana Field, the home of the Rays. Fouled off to the right side, now 2-2. There you go, guys.
You know what? I was saying that as a visitor, and I think it's a great feature if you're a home player or you're a Houston Astros fan. But as a visiting player, visiting man, you never wanted to see that train move because that means that balls were flying out of the ballpark. And it gets loud in here.
Springer pops this one up. Foul territory, right side. Not enough room for Choi.
Bobby Dynamite is the conductor of the train. Last year I got to go up and take a ride on that train.
Were you a little nervous up there?
It's high.
Yeah.
And there's really nowhere to stand. It's not. You're up there. They were taking batting practice, and we were up there riding with Bobby Dynamite. And he was. I've never seen a guy so committed to his job as a train conductor in a ballpark as Bobby Dynamite was up there.
Did you feel like you were in a shooting gallery as they were hitting balls at you?
Luckily, it's really far up there, but There was a couple that came, and I was afraid I was going to have to protect Bobby. That's Bobby right there.
Bobby's hoping for another visit, AJ. What are you doing tomorrow afternoon? Broken bat. Long throw by Adames. In time to retire Springer to end the inning. Bobby Dynamite, oranges. We head to the 7th. TBS. Then tomorrow, game 2 of the Yankees and Twins starting at 4 Eastern right here on FS1. Choi leads off for the Rays. Here in the 7th, takes strike 1 from Justin Verlander. Kenny Albert along with Joe Girardi, AJ Przinsky, JP Morosi. Only one of us was trending on Twitter yesterday.
Yeah, Joe, where are you going? Are you managing next year?
I know you're trending now because you blew this no-hitter.
Joe trying to change the subject as Choi fouls it off to the left side.
I asked you first question when I saw you yesterday. So, Joe, are you the new Mets manager?
Yeah.
I mean, and
I'm a broadcaster.
You wouldn't answer.
No, I said I was a broadcaster.
For now.
He promised us he would work this entire series.
I will be here the whole series.
Give us his word.
5, 4, or 3 games, I will be here the whole series.
The 0-2 from Verlander.
As we look at Verlander's pitch count, which I believe is at 90, you're starting to see guys start moving around in that bullpen because, Justin is a guy that has been able to go 115 pitches, but they will continue to monitor what he's doing. He's thrown a lot of innings this year, how he's continuing to throw the baseball. Presley has a ball in his hand now.
I'd be surprised. Yes, Presley's up. You need to get somebody up because when we talked to AJ Hinch today, we asked him, hey, could JV, Justin Verlander, come back in game 4? He said, we'll see. But if they're down 2-1, they win this game, they're down 2-1, and Justin Verlander has a chance to pitch, there's no way that AJ Hinch can keep him off the mound. He'll break down, he'll change the lineup himself if he has the opportunity to pitch a game 4, and it's either a chance to continue their season.
I completely agree with that, and I would think that, depending on where they are, if he goes too many pitches, you wouldn't have that opportunity to bring him back. It'd be tougher in game 4. You wouldn't expect him to have much, but they need him. They'll use him.
6 strikeouts for Verlander. He's thrown 92 pitches to this point. Diaz 0 for 2. He takes strike 1. Look back at the last pitch to Choi. 6th strikeout for Verlander today as he is now tied on the all-time postseason list for 3rd, behind only our colleague John Smoltz and Andy Pettit. He's also tied with those same two, Smoltz and Pettit, for the most division series wins. Of course, the division series came into play over the last 2 decades.
Yeah, 7-0 is not bad.
Verlander 7-0, Smoltz 7-0, Pettit 7-4. Nobody has won more than 7 in the division series, and now he is 1 ahead of Roger Clemens on the postseason strikeout list.
AJ, you talked about it. I've talked about it. You better get to him early or you're not going to get to him because his stuff gets better and better. And he's got people out with sliders. This happens to be that curveball that's a little bit slower, has a lot of the same movement, doesn't quite have the same sweep to it, but it's more of a downer, a 12-6er. It's about 79, 80 miles an hour, and you see Diaz swing just right over the top of it.
Verlander has recorded 5 of his last 8 outs via the strikeout.
He's got a chance to take over the lead in this postseason if the Astros have the run they're expecting to run all the way through the World Series. He's less than, 20, 30 behind?
Oh, he's got a real good chance of getting there.
He gets 3-4 more starts. Definitely got a chance.
If you figure if they move on in this series and he gets 2 starts in the next series and then maybe 2 starts in the World Series if they continue to move on, I would think that he would get there. So you're going to try to get one more right now.
The 0-2 from Verlander. Now 1 ball, 2 strikes. The crowd does not agree. Only pitchers in Major League history with at least 3,000 career strikeouts and at least 3 no-hitters. Nolan Ryan in the building. Now the 1-2 from Verlander, missing high with that 96-mile-per-hour fastball. 2-2.
You faced him, Joe?
No, I didn't. No? Thank God.
He did not look like a fun at bat. He might a little bit of glass now. Fastball, curveball, right? High fastball. Ball got on top of you.
Verlander strikes out the side of the 7th. Justin Verlander, outstanding through 7 innings. He's thrown 100 pitches, has allowed only 4 base runners. Jose Altuve gave the Astros the lead with a 2-run shot in the 5th. They would score 2 more runs later in the inning on an error committed by the second baseman, Brandon Lau. Glasnow, the Tampa Bay starter, allowed the 2 runs in 4 1/3. Bottom of the 7th. 4-0 Houston in game 1 of this best of 5. 4th pitcher of the day for the Rays is the right-hander Oliver Drake. 50 appearances during the regular season. And Altuve on the first pitch from Drake. Lines out to the left fielder Pham for out number 1.
We've kind of touched on it, Joe, a little bit here, and Kenny, that the Rays find people and put them in spots with a specialist kind of Chaz Rowe slider. Oliver Drake splits. This guy loves his split. He'll throw it all the time, and he's especially effective against left-handed hitters.
Yeah, you're talking about all the time. How about 78% of the time he throws a split? I mean, I guess he's throwing a fastball 78%, but Rowe is similar on the breaking ball. He's built to get right-handers out. This guy that you talk about, 78% split, and they're only hitting lefties are only hitting 147 off him. And how about the way he stands? I mean, you know, pitchers are taught to kind of keep their shoulders level and not go uphill. It's got to be tough to pick up because of the way he stands.
Absolutely. He's got kind of the glove, the pump fake with the glove coming through before his hand comes through. And because he throws so over the top, that's what makes his split so effective.
And you saw there, he kind of quick pitched him with that split. He didn't stop as long.
Slide step, quick pitch.
Yeah.
That's cheating. As a hitter, that's cheating. You're Michael Brantley. First pitch, he goes high leg kick, long pause. Second pitch, no leg kick, no pause, and you're out in front.
Well, you know who's got a lot of different times and different things he does is their closer, Roberto Osuna, for Houston. He will do a lot of that. So you see he's kind of across his body. Kind of leans over, he hides the ball. You don't see it, and then all of a sudden, there it is. I mean, he does a really good job of hiding the baseball. And again, you talked about the Rays. I mean, you think about him and Rowe. They're really right-handed, left-handed specialists, but one of them happens to be right-handed. That's the only difference. So you combine the two, and you got something. It doesn't always have to be a left-hander.
Brantley called out on strikes, quickly 2 away.
This just happens to be a high split that hits the outside corner, and it ends up being in the strike box. As a hitter, you probably don't like it because it's up and it's away from you, but it's a ball that could be called a strike because of where it's at.
How about Drake last season? Brewers, Indians, Angels, Blue Jays, Twins. First pitcher in Major League Baseball history to pitch for 5 different teams in one season.
Say it again. Who was he with?
Brewers, Indians, Angels, Blue Jays, Twins.
And I remember him as an Oriole. That's where I remember him coming up with the Orioles.
Right, originally drafted by Baltimore out of the Naval Academy.
Yes.
Time now for Old Dominion bringing their best. A look at the Rays bullpen.
These are the guys Kevin Cash counts on. Joe, you said, hey, they get the lead. The game's pretty much over. They win those games. It's because of these 5 guys. Not that the other guys coming out of the bullpen are any slouches, but these 5 guys, especially the last month of the season, have been incredible.
And when you look at them, you're going to see Oliver Drake, what he does against left-handers. Pache, he's very good against left-handers as well as right-handers. Diego Castillo dominated. A hard sinker, a 98 to 99 mile an hour sinker. Gets ground balls, gets strikeouts. Nick Anderson is their strikeout specialist. Emilio Pagan, 20 saves, but right-handers do not hit him at all. So they have a great mixture.
And it goes back to the Rays theme. They find guys other teams didn't want. Heck, nobody wanted Oliver Drake. He played for 5 teams last year.
And not even who he was originally came up with.
Exactly. So they find these guys that have a niche that the Rays can use and make better and say, hey, this is what you do great. Go out and do it for us for an inning or 2. And whatever the results are, the results.
And we talk about those 5 guys that were on their list. Only one of them came through their system. And that's Castillo. And everyone else was traded for or signed as a free agent. And they've done a great job of recognizing how to put this puzzle together. Think about what Kyle Snyder, their pitching coach, had to do, where he dealt with 33 different pitchers this year. And you have to learn their stuff. You have to learn their strengths, their weaknesses, what situations to put them in, what makes them tick, how you get them back on track when they get out of their mechanics. Is there a pitch that does it? Is there a different type of drill that you can do in the bullpen? What is it? And you're always learning new guys, and they're forced to speed up the process. And he's done a remarkable job.
Ball 4 to Bregman. With 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th, T-Mobile is introducing its newest, most powerful signal ever. No signal goes farther, no signal is more reliable. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile is with you.
Very surprised Drake 3-2 fastball to walk Bregman. I for sure would have thought he'd throw him a split. But as comfortable as he is facing left-handed hitters, he knows, hey, I can throw 17 splits in a row here to Alvarez and try to get him out.
One.
There's one.
17, that's going to be a long at-bat.
If this at-bat goes that many pitches, I don't know that Alvarez will see anything besides a split. How many ever pitches this at-bat, I cannot imagine him seeing anything else.
The 0-1 from Drake.
What's amazing to me is you know it's coming, and you still can't hit it. I mean, that's how. I mean, think about it. They're hitting 147 off his split, left-handers, and you know it's coming. He's got a couple different places he could go. If he throws a fastball, to me, it has to be so far, not so far out of the zone, but what you're trying to do is change speeds. Something that won't have him swing at unless he has to really chase it. It can't be that close around the plate. Or he can go split below the zone.
Well, I know this. If he throws him a fastball, it better not be down. It better be chest high or neck high or head high or over the backstop high, because if he throws him a fastball down, it's going to be 6-0 really quick.
Has he got a little power, AJ?
Just a little bit.
He hit 50 home runs this year. I know 27 were in the big leagues, but he hit 23 in the minor leagues in really not that many games.
Do not throw Yordan Alvarez a low fastball. He will hit him 474 feet into the second deck. Even hit one into the third deck here where they painted a seat for him.
Right. StatCast powered by AWS.
There's the fastball up. Just to change the eye level, Joe, right?
So would you double up?
No.
No. You're going right back to the split.
That was his one chance he got to hit a fastball. He's done seeing those guys.
That day, that person that went up there, did they ever think that they were going to get a ball in that third deck?
No.
I mean, think about how far away that is.
Bregman on the move. No throw from Darno. So the Astros with a runner in scoring position.
Well, no chance for Darno. The Astros would pick perfect pitches off guys to steal on off him. Poor catcher back there today. But when you throw 79% splits as a right-handed pitcher and you're a little slow to the plate, Bregman got the biggest jump of his life. He couldn't believe that he had such a jump. He even paused for a second and still made it without a throw.
Yeah, he went before he even started to go home and paused, like you said, and then continued to go on.
Alvarez with a base hit. Here comes Bregman. 5-0 Astros.
Well, that stolen base, AJ, came into play. And what I like what the Astros have done is not a team that runs a lot, but they have taken advantage of situations where pitchers don't hold runners really well. And they've gotten guys in scoring position, and it's actually helped them score 2 more runs. You see Bregman, he takes off. He's got a huge jump. Just eat it as a catcher. And then what's Alvarez do? He gets a split up. Doesn't try to do too much of it. You see the scissors with the back leg. They kind of go. Altuve's another guy that does that. And then you up scoring another run.
Alvarez had been 0 for 3 today and 0 for his last 15 dating back to the regular season. He drives in Bregman with his first career postseason run batted in.
That's the danger of throwing so many splits over and over again. Eventually you're going to throw one high enough where Alvarez can reach it, and all he had to do was poke it into right field for an easy RBI.
And you talked about his recent struggles. There were a lot of strikeouts in there, too, and there was a thought process that maybe he was trying to get to 30 home runs. He had 27, and he got out of what he was doing, and that's a good sign to me that you can stay back and hit that split like that and hit it through the middle of the field.
Gurriel sends this one down the line and right. Meadows unable to make the play. Alvarez scores on a Gurriel double. Astros now lead 6-0.
Right-handers do have success off of Drake, and Gurriel just took this split and hit it down the right field line. And he's had a good day. He's hit 2 balls hard. He's got 2 hits. His error, the E4, which was a tough play on the second baseman, ended up, they scored 2 more runs. So he's been in the middle of everything today.
A lot of times it's not how hard you hit it, but where you hit it. And this is perfect placement, just inside the right field line. Ground rule double. They might, tomorrow, Kevin Cash and the Rays might think about moving Austin Meadows to the right and in off Gurriel. That's twice now he's dropped balls in front of Meadows.
That's a good point. A lot of times right-handed hitters won't drive the ball to right field, but if you remember the one out that he did make, he hit pretty far to right center, hit to the wall. So I tell you what, I felt like in 2017 when we faced him, he had a magic wand in his bat. I really did. And he got a lot of big hits for them during the course of that season, and he's done it again this year.
Well, he's a really good player.
Yes.
He's just overshadowed by Altuve, Bregman, Springer, Correa, Alvarez.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing the players that they send out there. There's 7 or 8 core guys that they send out in the production that they get from them.
Astros with 2 runs in the inning. Verlander outstanding through 7. Houston with a 6-0 lead. 6 runs on 8 hits. 4 of the 8 have gone for extra bases. The 1-2, and Correa strikes out for the 3rd time today. But the Astros add to their lead as we head to the 8th in Game 1 of the American League Division Series. Welcome back to the American League Division Series, presented by Doosan on FS1. Verlander wins 7. The right-hander Ryan Presley out of the Astros pen here in the 8th. Travis d'Arnaud 0 for 2 today. Changes in the outfield. Reddick moves to left. Springer moves to right. Jake Marisnick in the game in center field. d'Arnaud right field. Springer backpedaling, makes the play, 1 out.
And that's a nice feeling for A.J. Hinch as the manager. You take your normal center fielder, stick him in right field, and you bring in a guy like Marisnick, he's really good in center field. Move your right fielder to left field. Pretty darn good outfield they have in these defensive situations.
And you know, they have another kid in Miles Straw, who's an outstanding center fielder that they could put in to left field after Reddick hits this next inning. So they have a lot of options. They have versatility in the outfield. Straw has amazing speed. He can really run down balls, and he's there to steal bases if they need it.
Strike 1 to Joey Wendell, who has struck out twice today against Verlander.
And the one thing about Presley since he's come back is his velocity's not all the way back. He missed about a month. He had a little knee procedure where they cleaned it up a little bit. His landing leg has been up to 95. I've seen him up to 98 before. But he's got a very good slider. Nasty slider, AJ. Down and in. He's got an outstanding 12-6 curveball. He'll elevate his fastball. It's almost like he's a little bit like Justin Verlander, but he's a reliever.
Well, if he keeps throwing that pitch to Wendell right there, he's better than Justin Verlander, because that was a bad swing.
But I'm talking about the stuff. He doesn't throw a changeup, but he's got those 3 pitches, and he uses his fastball. He elevates it, moves it in and out, and then throws his nasty breaking ball. Hasn't thrown for about a week, so this is really a pretty good game to get into. He hasn't thrown since last Saturday. The 4 days off. They didn't pitch him on Sunday.
That ball right there is eating Joey Wendell up. We saw him swing at one that Chirinos couldn't catch and almost hit him. It was behind him. And then this one is a little bit higher, but this ball is cutting in on his hands, and he barely gets a piece of it.
Now, was he able to hit that between his legs without hitting either leg?
I can't believe he got a piece of it.
The Rays with only 1 hit today. Brandon Lau back in the 5th inning with a single to right center off Verlander.
And may I reiterate, that was AJ's fault because he was the one who brought it up.
Please don't say that, because Justin Verlander will be mad at me tomorrow. We have to walk.
Yeah, but he didn't go 9 anyway, so he wasn't going to get a no-hitter.
Well, there's the 2nd hit of the game for the Rays, and the first off Presley. The American League Division Series on FS1 is sponsored by Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? And by T-Mobile, their newest, most powerful signal is here. Kevin Kiermaier 0 for 2. Rays have now had 5 base runners. 2 were erased on double plays. No Tampa Bay Ray has reached second base in today's game.
Every time they've gotten a guy on first, I feel like they've been erased by 2 double plays, both by Tommy Pham, but just absolute domination by Verlander. in his 7 innings.
Both of them 5.43s as well.
Verlander's 25th career postseason start. It's the 5th time he's got at least 7 innings without allowing a run in the postseason. 5 times.
As if he needed more for his Hall of Fame resume.
Yeah, why aren't I surprised, though? You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, that's kind of what you come to expect from him.
These Rays guys are beating themselves up.
Yeah. And that's part of what they've done the whole year is, as you look at Brandon Lau, he bruised a shin, hitting the ball off his foot. Diaz hit off his foot and had a broken foot. They get a lot of those.
All Tyler Glasnow can do is kind of sit and watch. Didn't pitch terrible, pitched pretty darn good except for one mistake to Altuve for the home run. But helpless feeling when you're sitting over there and you look up and you see 2 hits for the Rays and 0 runs.
I mean, for the Rays to win this series, they're going to have to play perfect baseball.
2 out. The ALDS continues tomorrow starting at 4 Eastern. Yankees and the Twins square off for Game 2. And then at the nightcap, Game 2 of this series right here in Houston. It's all on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Garrett Cole will take the mound for the Astros tomorrow against last year's American League Cy Young Award winner Blake Snell.
Yeah, I mean, his stuff was outstanding. Last year he went through some bone chips. And he talked to us yesterday about it seemed like every time he thought he was getting it going, he got hurt. He broke his toe. Then he thought he was getting it going again, and he had bone chips in his elbow that he's had to have removed. And, he's going to have to step up because he's been a guy that, yeah, he's made some starts, but he's thrown a lot of pitches in 2 and a third innings, and they're going to need some depth out of it.
Can we go back to Garrett Cole?
Yeah.
16-0 in his last 22 starts with the 1.78 ERA.
10-plus strikeouts in 9 games, 9 straight games.
So you just got 7 scoreless from Verlander. And you're like, okay, we'll get their 2-starter tomorrow to get easier. Well, actually, it gets a little bit tougher almost because you get Garrett Cole, who led the league in strikeouts, had 20 wins. And, in the last 22 starts, he's 16-0.
Yeah, he's had 2 innings off. He's had 2 starts against them. He's given up 1 earned run.
Eric Sogard pinch hitting for the Rays, and he will drive in their first run of the series as Wendell comes home from second. So Sogard, who's been bothered by ankle and foot issues, started only 1 of the last 19 games for the Rays. On the first pitch he sees in the postseason, picks up an RBI.
We see this pitch. It's a high fastball, and he just hits it the other way because Bregman's kind of shifted towards the middle, and he's off the line, and he's able to hit it the other way. And Sogard was one of their big acquisitions before, August 1st, and thought he could add offensively against right-handers, but he's had a hard time staying healthy. He's made himself a good little player.
Here's Meadows, strike 1. Meadows walked twice against Verlander, but was erased twice on double plays.
And Joe, are you a believer in momentum and carrying over in a series game to game? So that run, yeah, they're down 6-1, but do you believe hey, if they get to 6-3, that'll carry over to tomorrow and they'll have a positive vibe?
Well hit right center off the bat of Meadows. Sogard around third, heading home with the Rays' second run.
I am, AJ, and I believe what you feel better about is you're getting to their 8th inning guy, Presley. I mean, because Verlander and Cole, as good as they are, they're not going to go 9 innings every time. So the fact that you're hitting Presley, you feel comfortable. I think it does give you some momentum, and it's having them get another reliever up. And my concern about Presley a little bit is he doesn't have his 97, 98 that he had before the injury. His stuff is really good, But again, he hasn't thrown in 6 days, and he's probably a little bit rusty, but it makes you feel better as a club.
So 2 runs in here in the 8th for the Rays. Meadows takes his lead off second. Pitch in the dirt, blocked by Chirinos. Ball 1 to Tommy Pham.
So you do believe in moral victories, that's what you're saying?
I do. And I believe Tampa's really a momentum team. They have to get it going, and once they get it going, they have the ability to keep it going. And let's not forget, they've had 10 walk-off wins, and they've won 20 games in their last at-bat. So they're used to being in this situation and coming back.
You had a look at Will Harris up and throwing in the Astros pen. Bregman charging, barehands it, and Pham is safe at first. Meadows to third. So the Rays continue to threaten here in the 8th. They've already scored 2 runs. Here comes A.J. Hinch. That will be all for Presley. They've already scored 2 here in the 8th, still threatening.
Yeah, I mean, they have a chance to really get right back in this game if Choi could hit a 3-run homer. Now you're talking about 6-5 and having to get Osuna in the game. And, this is not how A.J. wanted it to go. As a manager, you want things to go smoothly, but it's not always that easy. And Presley did not have a good day, but he's an outstanding reliever.
Meadows and Pham, the base runners. Will Harris out of the Astros pen to face Choi. Strike 1.
And people say, hey, why does A.J. Hinch and the Astros not have a lefty reliever other than a starter, Wade Miley, in their bullpen? It's because this weapon right here, Will Harris, with his cutter, he dominates left-handed hitters.
Cutter curveball combination, as you talked about, A.J., and he's a free agent this year, and he's had a spectacular year. I mean, when you look at their relievers, Osuna gets left-handers out really well. Presley, Harris, James is even pretty good at getting left-handers out, and that's why they don't have one. And like so many of these Astro pitchers, he pitches up and then has the really good 12-6 breaking ball.
The 0-2 from Harris. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Right there. Now the 1-2 from Harris. 2-2.
Good take by G-Man Choi. Seeing cutters up, cutters in. Harris throws him his A+ breaking ball. And a nice check swing by him to keep the at-bat alive and make that guy pray just a little bit more for an out.
The 2-2. Rays score 2 in the top of the 8th. 6-2 Houston. Baseball and softball play opportunities available and fun for everyone. To find a youth organization near you, go to playball.org. Follow it. Playball on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Robinson Chirinos leading off for the Astros here in the bottom of the 8th inning against the 5th Rays pitcher of the day, the left-hander Colin Poche.
Well, Kevin Cash talked about during the course of the years he went through some ups and downs, and he put him in tough positions. And he's gotten better as the year went on. And he's another one of these guys that's a strikeout artist, uses his fastball a lot. It's number one in all of baseball with what they call rise. It kind of stays on that same plane and doesn't come down. And he gets a lot of strikeouts. Most of his fastball strikeouts are on four-seamers, so you're going to see a lot of them. Tries to pitch right-handers in a lot. He will miss out over the plate. Breaking ball is small.
Lined into the left field corner. A long single off the bat of Torinos. Leadoff man on for the Astros here in the eighth. Defensively for the Rays, Wendell moves from third to short. And Sogard remains in the game at third base. Here's Reddick, grounded into a double play his last time up. Two runs, 4 hits, 1 error for the Rays. They scored both of their runs in the eighth. Astros with 6 runs on 9 base hits. Astros have scored 4 in the 5th inning and then 2 in the 7th to break this game open behind Justin Verlander, who pitched 7 strong innings, allowed only 1 hit, struck out 8 through 100 pitches.
Just a nice clinical outing for Justin Verlander in the division series, where he's been unbeatable.
A.J. Hinch and the Astros won at least 100 games for the 3rd consecutive season. Only the 6th team all-time to accomplish that. Jose Altuve got things started with a 2-run shot off Tyler Glasnow in the 5th.
AJ, what is it about left-handed hitters that from year to year they could be so different off a left-handed pitcher? Josh Reddick has actually hit lefties better this year than right-handers.
Well, a lot of times it's how many you get to see. If you get to see them all the time, it becomes routine. But the way the game is now, it's so platoon-oriented, you don't get to see them. And then when you do get to see them, if you're Josh Reddick, if they're not starting and say you get one later in the game, you're getting these guys that are specialists who, depending on the time and when you see them and how you see them, it goes up and down. It's just a hard position as a lefty because everyone is so afraid to put a lefty against a left-hand. When I was a left-handed hitter, I came up, I faced everybody. You get to the big leagues like, oh, you can't hit lefties. Well, I hit lefties my whole life. And then it starts creeping in your mind. Oh, I can't hit lefties. And if I do get the at-bat off a lefty, I got to get a hit off the lefty. Well, no. Just have a good at-bat and have a good swing.
And I'm going to guess your approach off of left-handers was probably to take the ball the other way a lot. No, to pull.
Springer sends this one to left field for out number 2. Time now for a quick word from Evan Williams.
Get ready for the next pitch with Evan Williams. Bourbon done right.
Early in my career, yes. Everyone said, oh, you're facing lefty, hit the ball. No, I didn't. But towards the middle of my career to the end, when I got to face lefties, I was on the plate diving out there trying to hook balls. Because I felt like if I could get a breaking ball before it breaks, then I had a better chance than waiting for it, because the more I waited, the farther it got away from me. So why would I allow the ball to get too far away where I couldn't reach it?
You saw that note on Altuve. First play at a homer at his team's postseason opener, 3 consecutive years.
The first guy all day of the Astros to get to a Glasnow fastball, get it up in the air. Exit velo 98.7, and he just hooks it around the foul pole. Give the Astros a 2-0 lead.
StatCast powered by AWS.
I think he's had 4 at-bats today. He swung at the first pitch every time. So you talk about scouting reports on Altuve, it's aggressive. You better make a quality pitch the first pitch. And if you could throw a first pitch breaking ball, you probably have somewhat of an advantage.
You better make it quality, because if not, he's going to do some damage. He's always ready to swing.
His 9th career postseason home run back in the 5th inning. Astros would add 2 more runs on an error. And then another 2 in the 7th to take a 6-0 lead. There's Osuna. Led the American League with 38 saves. A 1-2 from Poche. Altuve sends this one into center field. Kiermaier makes the play. We head to the 9th in Game 1 of the American League Division Series. The Stone Cold Steve Austin together on WWE's biggest night as Diaz bounces out to Osuna. One away here in the top of the 9th.
I'll be watching, Kenny. Will you?
I know you will be.
Absolutely. I hope the TV in my hotel has. I've got to be flipping back and forth. I hope the batteries are good in my remote between baseball and WWE. I'll be watching. You know, Josh Reddick will be tuned in. He's hoping Ric Flair will show up with his Woo crew out in right field.
We know exactly where AJ will be tonight. And then we'll be back tomorrow night here in Houston for Game 2 of the Astros and the Rays. Along with our terrific crew led by producer Aaron Stoikov, director Mitch Riggin, associate director Jordan Harrison, broadcast associate Sam Younger, our technical producer Carla Ackles, technical director George Mikla, Ben Bowman crunching the numbers. Garrett Cole, Blake Snell tomorrow night. And then the series shifts down to St. Petersburg, Florida. Game 3 Monday. Game 2 on Tuesday. Game 5, if necessary, here in Houston next Thursday night.
Little change up by Osuna. Think about sleep patterns getting a little messed up, AJ. Playing a different time every day.
Baseball players love their routines in the postseason. You throw them all out the window.
Yeah.
Unless you're the Yankees. Usually the Yankees get to play. You know, Joe, you guys get all the advantages. You always play at 7 o'clock.
You had to go there, didn't you?
8 o'clock. It's automatic. Oh, the Yankees are in the postseason every time.
Not tomorrow.
That's true.
Well, right here.
We
AJ.
have the late game tomorrow.
I cannot wait. I am so excited.
Rays down to their final out. Time now for the proven performance fueled by Gatorade.
Absolute domination here by Justin Verlander. 7-0 record. About to go to 8-0 if they get this final out, but just dominated the Rays. They did not much, and then guess what? When you have a performance like that, you get to wave to your daughter and Kate Upton up in the stands.
Wife Kate, daughter Genevieve. Enjoying the action here in Houston.
And watch Ozuna. He changes his delivery. The last strikeout, he paused at the top and kind of double leg kicked. He'll quick pitch you. Just to mess up the hitter's timing every single pitch.
I'll tell you what, he's got his slider dialed in today, AJ. It is sharp. It is late. He's thrown it down in the zone. He has located it. He's thrown his changeup. He's used all his pitches. Again, another guy who has not thrown for a while, for over a week. So I think it's important that he gets out there and closes this game down.
He's one strike away. Time now for the dynamic play of the game, presented by Hankook Tire. We take it back to the 5th inning. Altuve takes Glasnow deep.
Well, that was the big inning for the Astros. They ended up scoring 4 in that inning. They got 2 more on a gift from an error from Brandon Lau at second base, but he was the one who got him going. Reddick walked off to start the inning. Springer struck out, and then Altuve got him.
Houston Astros win game 1. (6-2) victory for the Astros over the Rays. Justin Verlander with his 14th career postseason win. Game 2 tomorrow, Cole and Snell. For Joe and AJ and JP, Kenny Albert saying so long. To Los Angeles we go. Kevin Burkhardt of the gang, take it away.